Live, right. Oh, yes. It's already live? Oh, when? Long time? Just 1 second ago. Oh. Okay, I thought you were asking. I didn't know you were saying it's already live. All right. So, good evening, everybody. And welcome everyone on Facebook. Hello, everybody. Hello. Yep. Nice. Well, nice to welcome you people back. Now, I got a letter from one of DSA family people who decided, to just, I think he's watching us, or he watched us, because I think it's someone like Jefferson kind of guy, because he's a maximalist as well. From his letter, you will discover that he's a maximalist. It goes for it. So this is Yomi Martins, from Nigeria, from Lagos, from Africa. They are with us. I think he has data. That's what they always complain about there. But I think he got limitless or whatever you call it. Unlimited as well. So he says, "Good morning, sir. I trust that you are doing fine. I just felt it's high time I come out plain." When people come out plain, you don't know what to expect. It's high time I come out plain and inform you of the tremendous impact your teachings have had on my life in the past 7 months. Okay, now more peace. I started listening to your messages precisely September 2017. And yeah, I think he wanted to write 16, sure. He wrote 17. And I have been glued to your messages ever since then. A lot of people say that. Some people say they stumble into it by accident, and then they become glued to it. So that's what has happened to him. I am proud and make bold to say that I have listened to, you can't believe this, and you can get where I deducted the fact that he's a maximalist from. I am proud to say that I have listened to every single message since September. Every single, it's like Tega. There's a lady in Ireland that does video too. Her name is Tega. That's what she did too. She listened to and she started late. She started in August. And she had listened to every single one. Sometimes 3, 4, 5 times, she says. And she has 3 kids, I think. Unbelievable. And she's still working. So I've listened to every single one of the over 500 messages you have preached on your daily broadcast series. There are even some of the series that I have listened to more than 3 times. I have listened more than 3 times each to series like Life is Predictable. Those are the things that touched him. Prayer series more than 3 times. Life is Predictable more than 3 times. Loss of Money more than 3 times. The only message I have not listened to is the HMT you are conducting right now. So before today, he had listened to everything. So it's like his full-time job. But you see that it's not full-time job. He still has full-time job apart from this. The amazing thing is that every time I listen to a message I have listened to before, the ones I have listened to before, each time I listen again, I still hear things that I did not hear before. In just 7 months, sir, I have learned things that I did not learn and I did not know in all the years of my life on earth. I think everybody would say that, really. You cannot listen to Pastor Sunday 10 messages and say you didn't learn anything new, or even 1 message. These are my fruits, sir. So he's submitting his fruits. In the last 7 months, I have pioneered an initiative in my church to reach out to the slums in Lagos. Glory to God. Glory to God. But those slums have always, they've been there like for the last 30 years maybe. And you think there are no more Christians in that town? You think there are no Christians in Lagos? He too was living in Lagos before that. My God. God just asked, can you imagine if this will happen to all the Christians in the country? They will go and take over all problems in the society. No, I need to hear you. What do you think about that? Just that phrase. No, just be quick. Otherwise, I'm going to get all of you to stand up. Okay, let us all stand up. Until you answer, you will not sit. Anyone that answers is that will sit. Yeah, you're getting lethargic. I'm not going to allow you to get lethargic on me. So anybody that is ready to answer and you sit. Otherwise, keep on standing. So I'm waiting. So what do you think about this testimony? Where is the microphone? Don't be far away from here. You've got to sit somewhere here.
So for me personally, I can connect to this very well because I remember when I
in Nigeria, people will call someone like you almost gay. Okay. You're looking like a chic. That's what it means. You're looking, what do you call it? Babe.
Oh, God. Okay.
You're looking like a young spinster? Yeah. That's what it means.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so I remember when I contacted you, I was searching for a church and everything, and I was
louder, please.
I was searching for a church.
You are what?
I was searching for a church.
Okay.
And I didn't find one, so I contacted Pastor Sunday to ask, and after 4 days I got a response. Was super excited because I didn't expect it, and I didn't even send the email to you.
It only got to me 3 days after you sent it.
Yeah.
Because you sent it to the wrong address. So before it got to me, yeah.
Yeah, so...
And I didn't know who this person, I thought you were a white person.
Oh, yeah, probably because of the way I wrote the email.
Yeah. I thought you were a white German.
Yeah, so I was looking for a church, and he connected me with someone in Dublin who also came here for the HMT before. And actually, this person went to a church that I already had looked into, because I was looking into different churches ever since I moved to Dublin, and I didn't find any. And I was really surprised that she went there. So at the end of the day, I didn't stay, and I came here. And this time that I'm here, I realized that there are issues that I'm seeing in Dublin, that I was seeing in Dublin, and that I wasn't addressing because I don't know, maybe I was ignorant, or I was afraid, or whatever, but I saw the problems of, the homeless people and the helpless people, and we have that problem. It's really, really prevalent in Dublin. And I was thinking, why is nobody doing anything? But I didn't feel responsible to do it, and I didn't feel like I had the tools, or I had the strength, or I was the one to solve the problems. And at the same time, I didn't know why God brought me to Ireland, because it was never something that I had considered. And so now that I started listening to Pastor, and especially the last conversation we had about problems when we went through your book, I don't remember the title of it, but we went through the chapters, and you were talking about the problems of the society and your wealth is hidden in the problems that you see. And I immediately saw that I was the solution for it. And I also decided that I want to create an NGO in order to help the people, because nobody is doing it. And I now see that I can do it, you know. It's like you can see that you have the tools to solve the problem, and so why not solving them if you have the tools? It's like you're seeing, I don't know, the light bulb is broken or something, and you have a spare one in your...
So why didn't you fix it before?
Exactly. But it was like, you know, you didn't see it. You just didn't see it. And it's like you opened my eyes to actually acknowledge that I have a spare one to change the broken one.
What will you say about this guy? I don't, you don't know him. I don't know him. We've never met him. But just by listening to his letter, can you tell that this guy has gone through? I think you can identify that with his transformation, that the guy who wants to go to slum in Lagos. Mm-hmm. What do you want to say about this guy?
I think he saw the problem. He saw the problem, but he wasn't empowered to solve it.
But now, what happened?
Now it's like he got the strength. You know, he has the tools. Yeah.
And the tools are what?
The knowledge.
Yeah.
Who wants to add? Somebody wants to contribute?
I think just as he outlined in his email, it's not that he wasn't aware of the problems. You see it every day. You drive past it.
Maybe he was overwhelmed by the
Yes.
problem.
He looks at it.
Now, I think I got it. I think the reason people don't respond is that they think the problems are too many.
Yes. It's just overwhelming. It's too much. How can I take responsibility for all this?
But now what happened?
But now he has been equipped, and he knows through what he has learned from you that he doesn't have to wait.
Let's not use Pastor Sana. Use platform.
He doesn't have what he has learned is that, just like every one of us that is here today, is that these problems can be solved, even if it means him starting with just 2 people in the large Lagos that he's in. Just 2 people can make a difference, and those 2 people can probably turn around to transform 2 more people. They go to transform 2 more people. So it multiplies, it replicates itself, and that's what we're being taught.
No, but he used to go to church before now.
The church wasn't was not giving him that knowledge to know that he is responsible. He has the right to actually
Does it mean you've got to be pumped up or charged up or what?
It's the right information.
The right knowledge?
Yes.
Yes, please.
The critical thing that I see is that I think that he finally found out who he was.
Oh.
He found out who he was, and he found out the purpose of why he is here. And it connected to him that must be one of the reasons why he is here. And then he got equipped with knowledge that now gives him the structure, in his mind of how he could probably make it happen. And then he launched out in faith to do it. And then, of course...
So that's being equipped, really, because those are many equipments you've just answered right there.
Yes, but he found out who he was. First, somewhere there, he found out who he was and why he was here.
Who wanted to come? You wanted to come? Yeah, anybody wants to talk, just come. Just come and get it.
Yeah, I think the other thing is not being able to see the problem as well, because there might be all the problems that are around, but we don't see the problem.
The fact that they are there doesn't mean that we see it.
Exactly. Exactly. Because after listening to Pastor Sunday and reading his books, my eyes opened.
The fact that the problems are there doesn't mean that people are seeing them.
Exactly. So my eyes really opened, and now I can see I can see there's a problem here, there's a problem here, there's a problem here, there's a problem here. So I think the guy's eye has been opened.
Thank you for mentioning that.
I feel like he saw himself. His eyes were open.
When you answer, you can see it.
So his eyes were open through knowledge and saw himself as a deliverer and the deliverer for the. So now he's taken the identity
that he is a deliverer.
He is the deliverer.
No, but in Nigeria, people don't think like that. People think the government is
Yes.
supposed to do it.
Yes, but the teachings is giving that knowledge and that understand that he is the deliverer and he has the answer to the problems that are out there.
Okay, now the question I'm going to have for you and for everybody is it possible that you and everyone else could also investigate or do a research into the church in the society that you want to affect or change and say, okay, if you said he saw himself as a deliverer?
Yes.
Okay, if the answer that could really make people to act and fix the problem of the society is to see themselves in this particular situation as a deliverer. So if I could pass the message to individuals, believers, and convince them that they are deliverers, maybe, and I could get this kind of result, then it's worth doing it. Yes. Maybe it's not deliverer particularly alone. For example, if I'm going to be working with the youth, maybe I want to get to them, you know, I want to do research in what they need or what is causing their trouble or what I want them to become. If I want them to become an inventor or innovators, and then it means I could really, you know, sow that seed into them and they could actually become who I want them to become.
Yes, sir.
But if that is true, why don't we just do it like this then, so that every action that you take in your ministry is concretely targeted at a particular end result, but the way for you to be sure of that end result is for you to have done investigation and research that this is the tools that I will need to apply to make this person become that person in the shortest amount of time.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to bring together everything we have been learning from yesterday when I said everything started with my poll research and everything. Because I did that, I was able to get the right message and be able to package it well, the right way, and be able to use the other factors, you know, but either it's the environment, you know, or it's the character, or it's the knowledge, that I'm able to apply all these forces. So that you don't just do live broadcasts. You don't just write. You don't just do whatever you do, but you do it after thorough research and investigation, finding out the same formula that I found out. What are the factors that will work? What are the strategies? What are the methodologies? What are the skills that are needed? Then, so even when somebody listens to just one of your messages like this, or it comes across you one way or the other, you know if that person will pay attention, he's becoming somebody. I don't know if people are getting what I'm trying to. It's like I'm tasking you and at the same time trying to teach you and ask you a question. But what's your response? Anybody who understands that?
Sir, I think what he must have done was, after soaking himself with information from
platform,
he would have sat down, done solitude, and he started looking for problems.
I see.
So he cited that. So he now started, doing research on what to do. So he has soaked himself with.
I'm just interested also in knowing how you could apply those principles. Please help me close that door. It's not closing, eh? Okay. The door also became tired. Okay. Yes, please.
Yeah, I think depending on like for instance, he saw Islam. That means he would have sat down, built a system that will make.
Yeah, but I'm also interested in knowing because whenever you hear stories like this, don't only be interested in hearing. And that's what Jefferson was trying to tell us yesterday. Don't just focus your attention on what is happening in his life, but how I could now use same principles to do something similar and come up with a similar solution. Anybody wants to contribute? Yeah. Yes, please.
What I think about his story, if I will relate it to my life, is that every one of us, we carry this solution to problems as a burden in our lives.
But why is it that you, I, or him were living that same Lagos? He too was living that same Lagos for 20-something years, maybe. He never responded.
Yeah, because
he was still carrying that.
Yeah, he carried. It's like a burden. So the first thing is that he had a different message that he has never had before, that brought the solution to the problem that he's carrying in his heart. So that first thing is the, I would say, the gravitational force that attracted him to make him. In my own life, as a pastor, I think I've pastored for so many years, and there's a burden in my heart, is, to solve people's problem. But now, I was telling somebody I've not been privileged to have a mentor in life. So, but the first interaction with Pastor Sunday brought the solution there. And then it created an hunger.
You didn't have interaction with me. We're just meeting yesterday for the first time. You had interaction with the platform.
Yeah. Created the hunger, and the hunger battered the solution in me. And I think that's...
I think knowledge brings light and understanding. Okay. And then when you've got that in you, you know how you've got the seed in you, and everything starts small. And it as you cultivate what's in you, as you start, your eyes start opening, and you start to be able to see more and then you start to recognize these problems around you, and you realize that you have solutions within you. But these are like, they have to be developed within us.
You think that's what has happened to you?
Definitely. After watching anything that I've heard on the platform, I mean, that's why I'm here, because it changes you. It brings light, and it brings understanding, and then you start seeing things that you never saw before. I mean, you start walking out and realizing.
How do you plan to apply those changes that you said have also happened or occurred to you? How do you plan to bring it into operation in your country or in your life?
Well, I see I could be so useful to young girls. I because of life experiences, and now with the knowledge and understanding that I'm getting, I think that because I've learned all these things, I'm able to go and destroy ignorance.
Very good. Very good. That's what you plan to
do? Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I think was possibly happening to him is that he saw the problems, but he didn't know how to solve them.
You think he saw?
Yeah, but he didn't know how to solve them. Like for example, the light bulb thing. You see that it's broken, but you don't know how to fix it. So you will think it's not your responsibility.
Like connected to what we addressed in the morning. That Christians don't know how to, right?
Yeah. So you will actually see it, and you will possibly think, okay, maybe someone else can fix it. because, you know, maybe someone will know, but nobody does it. And until he understands that it's how it works and that he can do it too, he will go and do it. I don't know if that makes sense.
Very good. I got it. This letter. No, give it to the next person if she's ready. But so what it says is that he started going to these slums. We go with foodstuffs and clothing materials to these impoverished communities and minister to the indigents of those communities. So he needed to source out the money just the same way our people here that you have seen had to independently source out the help. You see, there is also something in you sourcing out the resource that you need. There is some, because in the process of you sourcing it out, God is actually changing you, remodeling you, working with you, and showing you more of himself. If you didn't need to source things out because you had them in your room, all the changes that would have been happening to you as you go through the process of sourcing them out, the process of change, growth, discovery, God's favor, God's mercy, God's miracle, God's signs towards you, like all the testimonies that Jefferson was giving when he withdrew, when he resigned from his work. All those steps, we all need them. We all need all those transformations because they help us to know our God better. They help us to grow better. And they help us to believe more in ourselves. It's just like saying if David had never had to have encounter with the bear, the lion, I don't think there would have been anything for him to fall back on when it was now time for Goliath. Yeah, so those processes that we go through to overcome one problem of the other, they are also actually equipment. They are actually equipping too. They are also some part of skills, and they are also some part of development for us as well. So, because I just wonder how is he finding those food stuff that is to take into those people regularly? Where is he getting them from? Because probably those were the things that were stopping him from acting before. Because he would think, I don't have what to take to them. I don't have the resources to take to them. I don't have so much money. I don't have so much resources. I don't have all the things they need. I am just one person. I cannot fix this. There are too many of them. But somehow, if you develop yourself, he probably got to know how to develop himself. Or he got the knowledge or the know-how of how other people have done it. He just launched out. Just in 7 months, all these things have happened to him. Okay, what else it says there is, we have institutionalized this initiative now. So he has built a system on that. It has been institutionalized. The next time we are going there, the next mission is going to be on the 15th of April. We are going to be supplying food and clothing. Now he has got his church involved, but the church is only having 35 members. So this is not a mega church. But with the limited resources, we have decided to tackle the problem. What do you have to say to that?
Pastor,
Because are people not being stopped because of lack of resources?
no. Pastor, with all the things you have been saying, in my head I was kind of disagreeing because for me, it's like living in a daze. You know, when you gave the analysis yesterday, and you said environment is 50%.
Yes, sir.
The major thing is environment. We have been living like we're in a stupor.
Okay.
You're just there, you're just going through the motions, going through your daily duties, and it's like you are just existing, you are not living. And what you did, what the truth did was to switch that. It's like you're being in darkness so long, and then there is this switch that just came up, and there was light. That is what he did. I have heard about deliverers. I have heard that I am solution provider, but he didn't do anything to me. So, but when light came, because it's like we've just been living in a daze.
That you are a solution
I have heard that, but he didn't do anything. Yeah. And when light came, it empowered
what
me.
What do you call light? Do you call light is
truth, knowledge?
But was that not knowledge that you are a deliverer? That was more motivation, right?
Yes, it was more of a
inspiration, motivation. But you needed more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So you now needed skills. The how-tos. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think I agree also with what Mrs. Shomuke said. You just not discovered who you are. That you are actually carrying an image and a likeness inside of you. So it's not just telling you, but realizing that it's not just hearing it, but you know, it now became flesh in you that, oh, I am actually a carrier of this image. Because we have become so irresponsible in the days that we have been living in. And so when truth came, we suddenly realized that we had to take responsibility. Because truth empowers. Truth will empower you to do more than... You're talking about sourcing. You suddenly realize that you have access to these things. You suddenly realize that you had access to this thing, and it won't even matter to you how small it was, because you just realize that you are a solution and you have to take responsibility. So environment, for me, has just been the major factor that have kept people in a daze and have made us to be so irresponsible in this society. It's not because we're irresponsible and also blind. We go through it every day, you know, but there was no awakening. There was nothing to...
Okay. Yep. No, before the question, I'm going to continue reading this guy's letter. Hello, girls. She missed out on the whatever you distributed. Bring to her. No, you need to get it. You need to get it. Yeah, but get more. You are tired. You need it. You need it. You need it. You don't just take one by one. You guys go all over again. They are taking one by one. They are too modest. Don't be modest in this house. You are prohibited from being modest. Yes, so take as many as you want. So, okay, what is the question that you have?
My question is if it's maybe also part of his passion.
Okay.
Because yes, he may have seen the problems, but he could have seen any other problem as well. So he possibly also...
It is better for you to only address what is your passion.
Yeah.
Even though you could help in other places, but you dedicate yourself to what is inside of you already.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you will be scattered. There are too many problems in the world.
Yeah. So I can imagine that he possibly went through something.
Because he had listened to all the messages.
Yeah.
So I think, Pastor Natasha, there are some drinks that Pastor Bosse was supposed to give to the kitchen. The bottles, drinks, Africa drinks. They call them malt. Some bottles of drinks, African. Go ask Pastor Bosse for the drinks. I think she gave them to the kitchen. If they're still there, serve them. Put those drinks. They're African unique drinks, soft drinks. So yeah, it's called malt. Ask Pastor Bossy about it, and serve to people, because there is an African here that's always buying those things for us, and we lost out to drink it. We lost the taste. So we kept them. We kept on growing because he kept on bringing them every week. So we are going to serve to all of you now. Well, so the next point this brother Yomi Martins is making is, in the last 7 months, so the first thing he did, that is, he's giving a report of what has happened in his life. He began to take responsibility for his country, for his city. He began to bring light to that darkness. That is one thing. We have seen that. Let's see the second thing he did. He said, in the last 7 months, I personally pioneered an initiative in my church to start a weekly school of money. These are classes to teach members of the church on how to be financially independent. We started the classes a week ago, and the teachings are patterned after your books, Money Won't Make You Rich, and the last book I just read, How to Build Your Secured Financial Future. And the third book, Stop Working for Uncle Sam. I used this to make a curriculum. He used all these 3 books to create a curriculum. I got the inspiration for the classes based on the testimonies of you starting a club that created 200 millionaires in 3 years. So my goal, see his goal, through these classes, through this curriculum, through this initiative, we plan to stop. My thesis is enough of collecting tithes and offering from church members without telling them on the other side how they could make money. So he wants to stop the practice in churches of just collecting people's money without, on the other hand, empowering, equipping these same people on how to make more money. So you just take it from them. So he started a movement, an initiative now that will stop that practice in Nigerian churches. Amen. So that people will not just be giving. He's not against them giving tithe and offering. Let them give. But he now wants to begin to equip them, empower them, so that they will also know how to get money as well, how to make money. Then they know they can now give from what they are making.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Next level.
Yeah, because can you imagine all of us could, I don't know how many ideas, how many initiatives we could all start like this. This is just one person writing this. Can you imagine if thousands of people get access to these messages? Can you imagine how many initiatives will be coming out? You have to come here. Otherwise, they will be taking you ahead of you. They will be taking your place. You know, in Nigeria, they are praying, they pray some song. I pray that, they always sing some songs like, nobody should take their place or something. Anyway. All right. Anybody want to say something now?
Yeah. The word slum in that email was actually what did it for me in just listening.
I'm sorry, Maiwa. Why are you always wearing this thing on top? Is it so hot?
No, is it cold? You mean?
No, it just doesn't make you look. I thought you would look better without putting the black thing on top.
But I want
Is it by all means?
No, I want to.
You want to? Wow. Well, I thought you might look better without it. That is just my own opinion. But since you Since you have your own reasons, I just have to comply. Maybe I don't know what you know. Who knows? Because I thought it makes you look bigger than you are. That's just the reason. Don't worry, forget about it. Assume that I didn't say it.
The word slum actually did it for me. And also what Mrs. Sharonke said in terms of discovering your purpose. You know, reading Dr. Sunday's book, Who Am I, Why Am I Here? Towards the end of that book, there was a lot of information. And one of the information is to look back into your childhood and look at why, you know, what changes you, your environment and all those kind of things, what happened. And, you know, in my childhood, I can remember as a child, everyone, I really used to nurture everybody. You know, I used to really...
Are you serious?
Yes.
So you had it you since childhood?
Yes. So I used to nurture everybody and, you know, even my dad, you know...
This is even without you being born again?
No, I wasn't born again. And I think maybe being a Christian or being born again is the worst thing that happened to me. Going into church.
Church, religion.
Yeah. I think it's one of the worst things that happened to me. And I actually understand why rich people commit suicide. Because we're not meant to just be rich, have money for ourselves, and have things for ourselves. You know, when I look at my life, when I complain, I can't really say that this is things that I don't have. You know, like I can eat 3 meals. I have all the things that I need to have. But I'm not satisfied. I'm not happy. There's something in my core, in my creation, that makes me unhappy. And that was because I turn my blind eyes and deaf ears to everything around me. You know, I don't want to have anything to do with...
Which means you are not fulfilling your purpose.
I wasn't. I wasn't fulfilling my purpose. And if not for the God that...
So you had everything you needed, which is how everybody is living. Just live for yourself.
Yeah.
But they were not making you happy.
No.
Which means there is something more than just providing for yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And in that, and I even if I think of a solution now, if I'm trying to think of a solution, it would be a solution not for the people that are down in the slum. Because that's one of the things that attracted me to Dr. Sunday as well, was that, you know, helping the alcoholics, the drug addicts. But I didn't even know that was what attracted me. I thought it attracted me to listening to him, what he says about helping people, because that was naturally in me. But my environment tells me that almost if I go to those poor people, they will infect me with the poverty. That if I go, I will be dragging myself down.
You serious?
Yes. That being in that surrounding would drag me down. Even the church would tell me that give us the money, give us everything, don't worry, we will go, not in so many words, but we will sort it out. So you don't need to do anything. Just take your ticket to heaven and sit down to die and just maintain yourself until you die. And that was the practice that I was living until he came. I felt like I was in a cage until he came. He opened the cage and, you know, get out, come out. And, you know, it's just the church, me, not the church, because who is a church if not for me?
What you said, because it is the second time I'm hearing this also. I don't know if anybody has heard it before, that somewhere in Africa, maybe it's even in Nigeria, that people were taught or are taught that don't associate yourself with the poor people, that the poverty could come on you. Mm-hmm. Something like that. Maybe not quite like that, but something similar. That if you are doing enough, if you are doing well, run away, move away. You know, don't go help them, don't go associate with them, because you can catch that ill luck from them.
Yeah. Not only that, but because you're on different levels now. Yeah. They poor, you're rich. So why are you coming back to mingle with them?
Yeah. But they were created by God, and I was created by God. They are created in God's image, and I'm created in God's image too.
Yeah, but that's the same argument that they use. They use that same argument, but twist it. That if God created them, God will sort them out. It's not your business. You know, God gave you this, what you have.
So
and God made them
God,
who you are.
That is why it is God who had to sleep with your mother to give birth to you, right? It is God who had to do that. Mm-hmm. It's God who has to come from heaven to do it, isn't it? There are some things that men have to do here. And that's why you are here. Human beings make children. Human beings feed children. Not God take care of you. Your parents did. So that's why we are supposed to take care of other people too. Human beings are supposed to take care of human beings. So if they are making that argument, I'm very sorry.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry for believing that argument and not being the person that God made me to be. That even when I think of being a solution, it's been a solution to like-minded people, not people that are down, that I can...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So some people even think of bringing solution, but to people of their status.
My status or above, so that we can lift each other up. And, you know, I just totally shut down on other people that really need my help. Those people don't even need my help.
Because they are not at par with you. Yeah?
Yes. And, you know, God really good that even when I do it with the people on the par, it would not satisfy me, or they would do something to betray me. So it's because that's not where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be...
Well observed. Well
you
observed.
know, so...
Yeah, I was thinking about this man that you were writing the letter from, and the circumstances here, and only 35 people in a church. Yeah, and that's amazing. Actually, today I was thinking about my own country, Sweden. It's the most secular country in the world, it's said. And it's very sad. And from the northern part where I originally come from, there aren't many churches, there aren't many Christians, there aren't many people at all. But it's a sad story. And when I was younger, I traveled as an evangelist around, and there were small churches out to the people. But hearing this message and
one person and small people.
Yeah, and that is very much how the situation is on many places in Sweden. So what you read and what this is about for me is much that I got faith that it is possible.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
it is possible. And it's just that we have to break out of our minds and our limitations, because it's just one person following God and being obedient. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, you know, that's why we must all follow this example. And when we all go back, let's do what he did. Let's go and get the cassettes, listen to them as many times, get the strength in the spirit, and we'll be able to do the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, before you speak, I'm going to continue reading what other things he's writing here. But none of you commented on the, his initiative, financial initiative, not just to be taking money from people, from poor people, even if they're not poor, from members, but to actually, organizing these trainings that helps them to start businesses and make money. You know, you have not spoken about that. The slum one is the first thing he said. This is the second thing. I'm going to the third thing he said already. Now, this third project he started, this is just him alone. In Lagos, Nigeria, the third project he started is, in the last 7 months, after listening to your teachings, based on the teachings on building systems. So he's never been here, but he listened to teachings on building systems that HMT is there on the YouTube, Sunday Adelaja Official. People are asking on Sunday Adelaja Official. For those on Facebook, it is YouTube, Sunday Adelaja Official. All the teachings are there. Playlist, you can follow the playlist. And then if you have not yet shared this message that you are listening to now, go and share your Facebook. Look under the video, you see share to all. Let's go ahead and share this message to all our friends right now, because it's going to be very hot tonight, because this is just the beginning. We're just sharing testimony now. The teaching is still coming. So what the next thing he did, this number 3 thing, he says, after listening to the teachings on building systems, we have been able to increase attendance in our quarterly finance summit, having quarterly finance summit program, he has increased attendance from 40 to 70. Wow. He said, but it took us 18 months to have 40 people. Now it took us just 2 months to increase it to 70. Yes. Truth, yes. Then number 4 thing he's talking about, I started working on trying to write. He's trying to learn to write. So working with my team to learn to write as well. So he thinks that he's going to learn that skills too. Then the next thing, number 5 thing he's talking about is, after reading your book, Stop Working for Uncle Sam, I was able to get a failure-proof plan from reading the book to retire from the Uncle Sam system where I'm working right now in 3 years and be sufficient, become a millionaire and financially sufficient after reading Uncle Sam. By the way, those who are watching us, this is the Uncle Sam book. You can get it on Amazon or Okada Books. You can get both the hardcover, the paperback, or the Kindle version. There are some other books we have on finances. Is Money Won't Make You Rich. It's also there on Amazon. Then you have on finances as well is How to Build a Secure Financial Future. It's one of these books he spoke about. And you have other books. Ignorance, Mountain of Ignorance. This is a bestseller right here. And then, just go and look for all the books of Pastor Sunday there. So this man is planning in 3 years to become financially sufficient, a millionaire, so that he will be out of working for other people. And there are a whole lot of ideas that have come to me by listening to your messages. Just like what Jefferson said, that many ideas are coming to him. And I will be informing you once I start implementing them. But sir, listen to this now. But one request I want to make. Katia, I have just one request I want to make. Please, please, please. Let's bring back the daily broadcasts. I'm asking for this and I'm begging because there is so much in you that we need to draw out. And I've said I'm not going to come back to daily broadcast, but recently I said I will come back, but if we have 100,000 before my birthday. So that's why Kate was asking for your help. So we just need as many people who could help us just to add. Yeah, just to click, add them. So if you, please. Come here.
It is also because of your help. We have made yesterday 1,700 likes, and we have almost made 3,000 likes today.
Oh, so they actually, maybe that should be their own work so that they don't. The babush looked at me like, I'm going to give you, Pastor. That's the way she looked at me like, you are going to get this from me. She wants you to help for sure. She wants you to help properly. Real work. She wants you to have it to work. But this is also very good. And this is urgent. So let them sleep and be adding Facebook. Click Facebook. When they get home, they will read the books.
So we have 57,000 now.
But wait. So how many of them are involved in helping you to add?
Well, I think about 7 people. They were
Only 7. What about if all of us get involved?
Maybe we didn't get there yet.
Maybe we should be, because then the prayer of this guy will be answered. Huh? But what do they need to do? If it's yours, you must contribute.
They will need to follow. You will need just to follow instructions that you have in your email. If you don't understand, come to me. I'll help you.
What about people watching who want to help as well?
Then
they
please
need to react to you or what?
Yes, they need to get access
They need to write to you.
Yeah, you need to write to vip@godsembassy.org.
Not God's embassy. God embassy.
vip@godsembassy.
No, God.
God.
Yeah.
vip@godembassy.org.
Yes.
And write with the subject Facebook, help to Facebook.
Help.
Facebook help. Just this. Thank you.
vip@godembassy.org. Facebook help, or help for Facebook, which I should said. Yes, please.
Okay, I just want to.
I've not heard your story.
You will soon, Pastor.
I will soon. You don't want to do it now?
I'll chip in a bit into it.
Okay.
Okay.
Abiola, right?
Yes, sir.
Are you so quiet naturally?
I am.
Or you are just afraid of me?
No, I'm just quiet.
Are you intimidated by HMT?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I'm
okay.
fine.
Okay. What city are you from?
Manchester.
Manchester. That's why you are the sister of my Irene. Because you just told me the name you use. I just remember you by your
the surname Ajoku.
Ajoku, yes.
Yes.
All right, now we're going to remember you for real.
Okay. I just want to talk a bit about the testimony, and what just came to me was purpose. Just citing an example of what happened to me as well. I've always walked on the street of Manchester, and there was this particular day, as I was walking on the street of Manchester, every single corner there was a homeless person. Every single corner.
I thought that is only in Ireland. Anybody from Ireland? I heard it's very bad in Ireland. Worse than here in Kyiv. Yeah, it's very bad in Ireland. But I didn't know it's the same thing in England.
Oh, yeah. It was like every single corner. And there was a burden on my heart that day. I couldn't sleep. I even slept on the floor just to have a feel. And, the Lord began to speak to me and said, I opened your eyes to see, because there is a purpose there. There's something I want you to do. I want you to eliminate homelessness. And I said, how do I start? How do I go about it? And immediately, because the burden was so hard pressed in my heart, I just summed up. I got a few people. And then the next day we took food packs, clothing. We just went on the street and started distributing them, ministering to them, talking to them. And it's amazing.
And God will give you the wisdom and the strategy. But you should know that a lot of people take food packs to people on the street. But if you leave them there, it's still like not solving the problem. So I'm sure you went to see what we do here. Because we actually have homes that will bring them to, because that's the way you build a system. But, it doesn't start with that. You have to start from somewhere. But eventually, you have to believe God, that God will help you to be able to maybe come up with a program for the government and get a property and be able to actually withdraw them from the street. And that will actually bring a longer resolution to the problem than, but at least you have to start from somewhere. So I agree. So you wanted to say something, that something began to happen after you?
Yes, well, what I was just trying to say is that it's amazing when you actually sit down with these people, the wealth, the amount of skills that they have, because people look down on them and feel as if they are nobody. But God was telling me, I created these people as well. They are my people. I created them. So his heart was bleeding. I could just feel God's heart bleeding, that this is not the best he has for them in life. But you need someone that is not ignorant, that has that knowledge, even no matter how little, to just take that bold step. So even though I didn't know that much to do, and that was why I was so happy this morning when we were talking about how to start and where to start. So, and then visiting the orphanage and the rehabilitation center has really opened up my eyes to know that you have to build a system to sustain that amount of, reaching out to people, not just giving them food packs, like Pastor said, but just, making it a long-term program.
Beautiful. But you never commented so much on that guy. What would you like to say about him?
Okay, what I'll just say about that is that purpose always gives birth to other things. Grace multiplies. And that was why after he dealt with that, other things began to open up, like the, sustainability, opening up the, teaching people, equipping people on how to manage money and things like that.
Beautiful. Thank you.
What I have to say is about that guy. In our churches in Nigeria, we are where we are today because you become what you hear and what you read.
That is right.
And we see that from looking at the revival, the Pentecostal revival in Nigeria from the late 60s to early 70s. That message is what has given birth to
who we are now.
Who we are today. So, if there must be a paradigm shift, we must make sure that this very message that we are all enjoying now, we multiply it and because there are a lot of persons in our churches that actually have this burden to reach out to people and be a blessing, a solution to societal problems. But some they don't know how to start. Some from their own pocket they can just see somebody in need and just reach out to the person and get some satisfaction. But they don't have the knowledge to create a system. Yes, exactly. And the messages we preach today doesn't really encourage people to go out to do this. Yeah, no, it doesn't do that. They definitely prefer you bringing it to the church and the church becoming the storehouse, and they're not reaching out to people like that. But what I want to say is that as I encourage that guy, I want to also encourage other people that are listening to me that can start from somewhere. No matter how small it is, we can reach out to somebody. But with this message, we can create a system, because I know that what that guy must have done, he said he initiated it in his church. He must have looked for, I don't think he must have gone to the pastor, so he must have looked for a like-minded, because yes, because some pastors will not encourage you to.
They might even stop you.
So he must have looked for like-minded persons. So if you see that the burden is too much on you, you can also look for persons that will share the same burden with you. 2-3 persons, you will definitely get something done. Thank you.
By the way, did they give you the drink yet? What do you think about African drink? Or it's not African? You like it? Swedish guy likes it.
We have something similar in Sweden. We drink it at Christmas and Easter. It's called julmust.
It's only Christmas and Easter you drink it. Yeah. In Nigeria, they drink it every day. So I'm giving you Christmas treats. Everybody tasted it yet? What about the Russians? Did you take the Ukrainians? Did you taste it? Did you taste it? Вкуснее, да? But he could identify with it in Sweden. Here, the Russians also said there is a drink they call kvass, similar to this, but this is better. But this looks like that their drink and coffee put together. Mix a drink with coffee, soft drink and coffee. Now that's the way this tastes to them. Pastor, you didn't drink. You are drinking. I'm enjoying my Easter treat. Have you drank your own?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Immediately.
So I don't know. We don't have it here. So I don't know. Some people probably get this from it's African shop, right? Mr. Martin is the one who provides them. Yeah. He gets them in African shop. So he has to go and buy them in hard currency. Yes, please.
So, Pastor, I think it was beautiful that you came online and dumped so much resource online. So all your messages have different components and they have different jobs that they're doing. The kingdom messages helps you to identify and that there's a kingdom if you don't know. The finance messages helps you to understand your finances. Who am I messages help you to discover who you are. How to discover your calling help you to discover what to do and then apply it so you can connect all the dots. At the end of the day, you have a bundle of 500 messages that are doing different things like a complete system that helps you to implement and take your territory. So that's number one. And number two is online, there are so many people that have actually launched out. It's just that a lot of us have not written in to pastor to let him know that this is what we're doing. Like, I know of a brother in New York who started something about reaching out to the youths last year. Some of you might remember him, and he hasn't been here, and he's in Nigeria, listening to pastor's messages online, and he started out an youth initiative. So there's a lot of things going on that we're not even aware of, and I think it's the repository of messages is helping people to reach out, take their territory, because the messages are very precise, and they tell you exactly what to do and give you the resources.
But people too might not even be aware, because all these people are saying they bump into it one way or the other, right? There is one guy that did a video broadcast, recording. I think it was Sunday Akimbo or somebody who said that when he goes to YouTube, that he's actually very surprised that so few views are on those messages. And he said that it's like a wealth, a resource that is there, and people just don't know. Although we have started painting the color. That's Caroline. We started putting it out there to do, but there's still a lot to do to be done, just to make sure that people notice it. Because you might have something precious there, and people might not know it. So I think we could all help our friends by directing them directly. Somebody told me that what he does is that he takes a series, let's say the series on finance. He takes it and sends it to all his friends and says, gives them everybody special message. Somebody says, until you listen to all of them, don't call me back. And another one, he says that, listen and let us talk. Different things to different people, right? But series by series. And tell them, listen to this series, listen to this series. If you are having financial something, listen to this, then I come and help you, then we can talk, or something like, you understand what I mean? So that we get people to change first, to be transformed first, because we'll be able to help them and they will be able to know really what to do themselves. It's just like saying the other day when Jefferson, when I pledged 10 million to Jefferson here, there was another person, I don't want to point finger, that also had a need and made his need known, but I didn't commit anything. Why? Because I'm not, that person is new here, and I'm not sure of the transformation that the person has gone to, no matter how good you are in your own area and whatever you do. But it is important that the kingdom message gets a hold of you. And I think this is one thing that we could all apply, this principle. Let people, first of all, get and be rooted. Like, for example, when we go to Africa by the grace of God, we are going to be doing a lot of work to help people. But if you really want to get to participate in it, it's going to be conditional. If you don't listen to 200, and we are going to put it on the internet and, test. We're going to test you. We are going to, if we are not transformed, there's no need to try to change your body or to try to bless your body. It is about changing people from inside out. And I think we could help people by really helping them to bump into these messages rather than by accident. Okay. All right. Anybody wants to say anything? If not, then we start the teaching. Okay. We are going to make our transformation, our whatever. We're going to switch into the teaching session. And again, I want to use this opportunity to welcome everybody that is watching us. If you are at home or wherever you are, DSA family, let's greet them again. Pakajit if Segnas. Please greet them, wave to them. Wave to DSA family, people. Hello, 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 hello. Yes, bless you guys. Nice to welcome you. We have been teaching, and we have been going through this teaching that is on why Christians are not as great as God would like to see them. Why are we not great in the kingdom? Why are we not great on earth? Why are Christians not becoming who God wants to see them to become, who God wants them to be? We have examined some points that are limiting us, and we have given 13, I think it was 13 I gave before I left. So Jefferson will now tell us how he wants us to address that, in what priority he would like us to go. Can you give him the mic? We have to come here, please. Thank you, sir. Give a few summary of what we have done so far, so that people now will know and be able to identify this.
So Pastor told us there are at least 40 points, but so far we've highlighted about 13 points, and we've dealt with, I believe, 4 of them, 3 or 4 of them. 4
of them.
4 of them. We dealt, and then always preaching and laying emphasis on virtues of God.
Rather than the nature of God.
Then Christians are not living their daily lives with the point of view that they are here to fulfill a calling.
Right.
So we've done those 3.
And number 4, we have also dealt with how people don't know how, right?
Yeah. Yes, not knowing how, where to start.
Yeah.
So then, should I list all the 10 points or just go straight to the ones that we need right now?
You know, I don't know how you people.
Yeah, we know the 5 that we need now.
Yeah. So you know. You are in charge. I'm not in charge.
Thank you, sir.
When you give me the microphone, that's when I'm in charge. Now you are in charge. So you do what you feel like to do.
So first, we want to tackle slave mentality. Then next, we're going to deal with a lot of Christian. Second, we're going to deal with Christians mainly just want to live a peaceful life. Then the next one, people are used to giving excuses. Then the next one, we rest too much. And then a lot of Christians are not just grateful, in that order.
Okay.
And after that, we can now go to any other one in whichever order we want. So start is slave mentality.
Just pray that we do the 5 this evening alone. Okay. What we are talking about is that it is what we listen to, it is what we are being taught that will become. Our life is only a reflection of what has been taught to us, and if we are not great, it's because the messages that we are being taught great. But in the actual fact, a lot of the messages that we are being taught in charismatic Pentecostal churches are meant to actually to hold us down and make us submissive. Make us submissive and loyal. And make us keep on coming. And then make us giving. Keep on coming and giving. And then with some gimmicks to make you feel that something is really happening. Like people giving testimonies of miracles or healing, just to make you to keep on coming. But a lot of those messages are not intended at you becoming all what God created you to become. A lot of those messages are not intended at releasing you, making you become the king over your own territory. In most of the churches, it is only the pastor who is the king over his own pulpit. But in the real sense, the pastor is a king, yes, over his own pulpit. But the reason why he's a pulpit is so that he's a king, is so that he would let people know that the church is a kingdom of kings. And every one of them must become kings over their own territories. And his duty, therefore, is about raising sons who will be unleashed and released to their territories where they will become kings over their spheres of influence. So if a pastor is not doing that, every other thing is manipulation. So we say, what are those messages then that could help Christians to become all they are called to become, or all they could potentially become? What are the messages that need to be preached to make people to become great on earth and to leave a memory and a memorial on the earth for the kingdom of God. What kind of messages, what kind of food should the Christians be fed with to really make them take dominance and dominion of the earth and to rule the earth for God and to dominate the earth for God? But sometimes, as life is often is, you need first of all to discover what you shouldn't do to know what you should do. So that's why we say we must stop preaching the consumer mentality message, and we must change the attitude of Christians who relate to God with consumer mentality. And then we must change the second thing, in our emphasis in church is we emphasize how great God is, which is wonderful. But when we talk about how you can do this, we unknowingly make people to become subservient. And what they do is, because God can do this, only God can do this. So we are just subconsciously go to be asking him to do, rather than to be going to him as partners, as obedient children who will reflect his nature and do what he wants us to do, right? What we can do for him rather than what we can get from him. So those are the things that we have addressed yesterday as well. And then we spoke also about the fact that a lot of Christians who go to church, they live their daily life being more conscious of survival, of surviving, making a living, rather than fulfilling purpose. And we are supposed to be living our daily lives on a daily basis, just being more conscious and being more driven by our need and desire to fulfill purpose rather than to make a living. But that has been lost. So that has to be corrected as well. Then the final thing we think that is holding people back from attaining the fullness of what God has called them to be, and that is why they cannot become great. Because we said, okay, there are a lot of inspirational messages coming, motivational messages, preaching mostly about that, people just inspiring people and motivating them. But when you give people a lot of motivation like that without giving them the skills, we say people don't know how to do it. They want to become great, they want to glorify God, but they don't know the skills to use. So they are only reduced to going to pray about it or going to church more often. So because they have not been equipped with the skills. So we talked about that as well. Now, what my brother is saying is that one of the other points, the next point, which is number 5 point, why people are not great, is that people are often dwelling in what I call the slave mentality without even being aware of it. People are in the church, they are children of God. Jesus died for them. The same way he died for me. But they have not been delivered. The slave mentality. Numbers chapter 13. Chapter 13 from 31 to 33. And Numbers chapter 14 from verses 6 to 9. Can anybody read those scriptures to us? If anybody, can you find, do you have it? Anybody have it? Yep, anybody have it? Numbers, yeah, please.
Numbers 13.
Yep.
13. But the man that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. 32, and they brought up an evil report of the land which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it is a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof. And all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. 33. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which came of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight.
Thank you. That's chapter 13, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. We will read chapter 14 later.
Okay, sir.
Okay. What are the characteristics of a person with a slave mentality? Number one, slave mentality is when somebody is either not aware of the huge possibilities and potential he possesses as a child of God, or is aware but is too scared to actually believe he could take possession of it or to go for it. You pay attention to those two words, slave mentality. Slave mentality is a problem that Christians have that does not have anything to do with their spirit man. Their spirit man has been regenerated. They have been redeemed. So everything is okay with their spirit man. But slave mentality is a problem that Christians have that has to do mainly with their mental sense, with their mind. So a lot of people in church today cannot become great and cannot become who God wants them to become because of their mind is messed up. Mentality is wrong. What is the main thing that is wrong about their mentality? The main thing that is wrong about their mentality is, you remember, they have been redeemed in their soul, in their heart, in their spirit, and that means they have become these children of God. And becoming children of God means that everything that God has belongs to them now. That means they have become heir of God. That means nothing can stop them. That means there is nothing impossible for them. That means greater is he that is in them than he that is in the world. But today, you can find in church, in Christian church, people who are being redeemed in their heart and their soul, in their spirit. But even though they are redeemed, but they could still be afraid. In fact, not just they could be, they are even still afraid or frightened of witches and wizards, for example. Or of evil, for example. Or they might even not, let's even leave demons out or spirits out. They might even think there is something they cannot do. Either because, of whatever reason. I cannot do this, I cannot do this. It is impossible. It's supposed to be a word that is not available, that should not be used by Christians, that there is something I cannot do. Or there is something I cannot become. It's not supposed to be available in the vocabulary of the Christian. Every Christian is supposed to be so radically convinced that he can change the world. Everyone. In fact, the only problem we should be having with Christians is the problem of superiority complex. Hallelujah. That's the only problem we should be having with Christians. We should be trying to stop them, hold them back. That, okay, wait a minute, please. Wait, slow down for him. Maybe you wait for him a little bit. That should be the only problem we should be having with Christians. That they are so possessed with superiority complex, with superiority mindset, that they are all, in fact, people should always be in awe of what they hear them say. But slave mentality makes you to think in your mind. You might be hearing words, right words. You might be going to church, but in your own mind, you say, I cannot do it. That's slave mentality. I don't believe it. I'm too scared. So when I got born again, I was exactly like that. When God called me, I was 19 years old. The first question I asked God is, but I'm too young. I don't know anything. I'm not big. Who will listen to me? I am black. I don't have money. I'm from a poor family. So another feature of slave mentality, characteristic of slave mentality is negative focus, negativity focus. You are always thinking in the opposite, in the negative. I have not, every negativity, negative, that's slave mentality. So I had all my list of why I couldn't do it. But the stronger point that God is in me, that I am born of God, because he said, they that believe in him, those who receive him, he gives power. But I don't pay attention to become sons of God. So I don't even pay attention. So that's what slave mentality makes you to do. You downplay your right. You downplay your authority. You just downplay it. You just don't pay too much attention to it. You downplay your authority and all the promises, your inheritance, your heir status, your superiority. And then you magnify and emphasize all the negative. Those negative things might be factual. They might be visible. They might be there. You have not embraced the good, positive promises and features and inheritances that you have, but rather Satan is making you to focus only on the negative. That is mentality. That is what we call slave mentality. So churches are full of people with slave mentality. And unfortunately, either the pastors and leadership of the church are not even aware that their congregants are suffering from this thing. Because even when pastors preach against negativity or they want to preach about faith, the only thing they do is that they only preach about faith for healing, faith for miracle, not faith in who they are. Not faith in who they should become in their destiny. They have, you understand? But they rather preach on faith for them to get by, to hardly make it, get by, to get something. But not to make them become. So either pastors are not aware of that, or maybe to some pastors, maybe it is actually profitable to keep slaves in the pews. So why people cannot become great is that they have slave mentality. As long as you have that mentality of a slave, you can never become mover and shaker. You can never become great. You can never be a kingdom carrier. You can never become a kingdom, a God carrier, a kingdom enforcer. You can never be bold enough because slave mentality makes you to live, that's another factor, makes you to live in perpetual, not just negativity, but also in perpetual fear. Slave mentality also keeps you head back from your potential because of fear. What about if this? If I do this? If this? What about if this? What about if I fail? What about? So these are some of the things for us to attack. These are some of the things that we have to attack. If you people have been listening to my messages, those series we are talking about on YouTube, Sunday Elijah Official, all those series, you will see that my teachings are attacking mental strongholds. So these are the mental strongholds. You see, the strongholds that Paul spoke about in Corinthians, is not stronghold that demon is connected to. This one is the stronghold that is the mind that is connected to. So this stronghold that we are supposed to cast down is not the ones living in the air right now. It's the one living in your mind. These are the biggest strongholds. And if we want to raise up generation of people who are great, if we want to raise up generation of people who identify with their God and do things and bring the glory of God to the earth, the church must redesign our messages, our form, our communication skills, our delivery, our attitude. All those things must be reformed and changed, totally changed. Like I told you, I had to change. So that now, everything we do, we have the intention and the purpose of raising him up, of destroying that which is holding him down, of tearing the walls of negativity and fear in him, of setting him free from the shackles, and raising him up and putting him on the pedestal and letting him know, you are the one to reign here. It is your place. Look at me, believe it. It belongs to you. Of instilling confidence, faith, of backing him up. So if you want to be effective when you are working with people, these are the walls you have to break down in their mind, but that wall is in their minds. One of the things you've got to do, we told you already, consumer mentality, all those things, this is another one that will be broken down. Now, remember, slave mentality is only talking about the reality that breaking down slave mentality in people means that they will not have walls before them, obstacles before them. No, they will still keep on running into obstacles. They will still keep on running into walls. But if the slave mentality is broken down, what that will mean is that he knows that yes, I see the wall, but I'm going to dig on, either till it's broken, or I am going to dig the ground. I'm going to dig until I get to the foundation, that I'm going to make a hole and get to the other side. Or I'm going to climb over the wall. One way or the other, I just know I'm going to pass through. That is it. It is only people in whose mind the slave mentality has been destroyed. Now that is their attitude. They don't deceive themselves that they will not have problems. Because when I listen to messages of pastors in my country, what I hear people tell them is that this year, in this church, nobody will be sick. I release the mantle or the anointing or because of the anointing of God upon my life, or because of the whatever mandate of God upon me. This year I declare nobody will die, nobody will be sick. Wow. So there will be no walls. In fact, all the walls, all the people who want to destroy it, all the walls will die before you come, before you get there. All the enemy who want to kill you, they will just die. So you don't have to fight. No, that's not what kingdom says. Kingdom says, kingdom teaching, the truth of the kingdom is, we are not building illusion in the mind of people. We are not building deception in their mind. That because I am anointed, or because I have some mandate, you will not have obstacles, or you will not be sick, or you will not, or your enemies will die. They will not die. They will be there until you lay a table before themselves. If they die, who will you lay a table before? If they die, who will you convert? Who will give glory to your God? So we are not, so we have to change that kind of message that is coming from the pulpit right now, saying people, because I am the one that is anointed now, because you are coming to me, is a false way of validating themselves. We want to validate yourself through falsehood. And these people in those churches don't know that their pastors are standing for falsehood. They are not talking truth. They are preaching falsehood. By saying that nobody will be saved in this church, that man of God or GO or bishop is a representative of lies and deception. So why do they bury their members then? Nobody will die. They don't announce it. But that doesn't mean it doesn't take place. Nobody will be sick in this year because we have this covenant, or we have this prayer, or we have this anointing, or we have this mantle, or because the man of God has said it. So people will be rushing to church because the new year is coming. The man of God will say something so that nobody will be sick. Or you have to drink some whatever, or pray some prayers, or it is a lie. What we need to deal with is not the physical things that are happening. If we could deal with the mind of our people, if we could build in them the strong mind that is necessary, if we could align their mind to the mind of the master, of the new identity they have in God, if we could establish them in the understanding of God, that they will be in alignment with how God thinks of them, they will even be bold to walk into the territories where all the problems, sicknesses are, and they will make a fool of those things, of those problems. So the problem is not that, the challenge is not that shouldn't be problems, but the challenge is that we know how to deal with them. In fact, we look for problems, we look for troubles, we look for challenges. Why? Because we have overcome the slave mentality in our mind. Can you imagine that I heard, and I don't think this is true, but I cannot deny it because from what I see from the pastors, I think it's the truth. I heard that pastors these days are praying that you could testify or make that, build up that mirage and that illusion that your people, that you can pray and make people avoid problems, the more anointed you are. But churches are not created. Men of God are not anointed so that their members will not have problems. That is not why men of God were anointed. Men of God are anointed so that their members will be able to pass through the valley of the shadow of death and come out with testimony. So to say that people will not have problems, or you have some anointing to make them, to pray for them to be insulated from problems, to be protected from, negative things, is outright deception. There is nobody in this world that will not have challenges and problems. It is every day. In fact, not just that you will not have it, even if you don't have it, if you are a normal person, a kingdom person, you should be looking for it. But the attitude you express that you have towards it is to solve those problems. Even if you don't have your own problems, go and look for problems for others to resolve. That is what this, like Jesus. He is the one that would have had the right not to have problems, right? Jesus, because he's the Son of God, he had all the anointing, God was with him. If there is anybody that could have invoked that right not to have problem, to be problem-free, if life of a Christian is about being problem-free, the more you are problem-free, the more you are anointed, the more God is with you. So it means Jesus has failed. God was having problems from before he was born. And even during the time he was being born, he was having problems. And after he was born, finished, also his problem started. Every day, every step of his life was having problems. But apart from the problem that he was having by himself for himself, he was busy looking for other people's problems that don't concern him and multiplying them upon his head and resolving and dealing with all of them. That is what it means to be a Christian. So it is that mentality that is not slave mentality. It is kingdom mindset, kingdom mentality. That is what we need. Paul, Peter, John, Jacob. Tell me which one of them was immune from problems. Even those who we think we didn't hear of their problems, they still had them. But even if you didn't hear of their own personal problems, they were busy engaging in other people's problems. So for us to be all those are just gimmicks and lies and deceptions. You shouldn't be giving credibility and authenticity to churches based on the fact that they are able to protect you from problems. You should rather be giving credibility and authenticity to churches that equip you to look for problems. 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 That equip you to confront problems, to look for problems, and to dismantle problems. It is because of this mindset of running away from problems, avoiding problems. That is why if you go to my country today, a country that is 40 or 50% Christians who claim to be born again, everybody seeing problem of dirt and all kind of problem, everybody's avoiding them because, it's like Christians now have been trained to run away and avoid problems. It's like this is our anointing. It's like this is what Christianity means. Run away and avoid problems. No generation of Christians has ever seen this kind of decay. All generation of Christians have always been known to go to the hardest of places. They have always been known as people who look for problems, who confront problems. But the kind of churches and charismatic churches we have generated a new kind of decayed Christians, corrupt Christianity that are not now avoiding. So because we're avoiding all the problems in society, our country is stinking. Our country is smelling. Our country is rotting because nobody is addressing those things. And even the resources that we have that we could have used to address them, we are using them to go and build structures in churches. We are bringing all our money to church instead of using our resources to resolve all the corrupt problems and the things in our society. So these are all based on mentality, slave mentality. Slave mentality runs away from problems. That's another point if you want to make. Slave mentality believes in the fact that they could avoid problems or they should avoid problems. Slave mentality makes people to think that it's evil, that it is evil for them to have problems. Even Jesus came to the earth because of problems. Even all of us were called from heaven, we were created, sent to the earth because of problems. You were created to address a problem or the other. There is no one of us that is created for anything else other than to come and fix a problem. We are all sent here from heaven, packaged with some gifts, potentials, talents, and the different skills that we have, and we could develop so that we'll be able to address and fix the issues that we'll face on the part of our calling here on earth. So slave mentality is a big challenge that the church has to deal with. And we need to change a lot. Our messages must change. Our worldview must change. Paradigm must change. The churches, focus must change. fact, people are having some funny doctrines now just for them to avoid problems. So that problem will not come to me. Some people are drinking oil. Some people, that problem will not come to them. Some people are putting oil on their cars, so that problem will not come to them. Some people, all kind of funny, they carry some clothes around, all kind of gimmicks, just to run away from problem. Whereas people who have the kingdom mindset, they don't run away from problems. They run to problems. They seek for problems. Jesus went about doing good. To whom? To those who were in problems. He didn't sit in one place just because he was looking for problems. The same. You see the missionary trip or missionary journey of Apostle Paul, Peter. Why? They were looking for problems. Our approach to problems, either we have slave mentality, or we are kingdom citizens. Let's read the chapter 14, please, of that I just gave you. You have the verses? Tell him the verses, somebody. Numbers 14, yeah. Numbers 14, verse 6 to 9.
Numbers 14, 6 to 9. And Joshua the son of Nun, and Caleb the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched the land, rent their clothes. And they spake unto all the company, saying, the land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us.
The place we read was the slave mentality. But the thing we are reading right now is a kingdom mindset. Yes.
Verse 8, if the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us into this land and give it to us, a land which floweth with milk and honey. Verse 9, only rebel not yet ye against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not.
Thank you. Now, the other thing about slave mentality is that, next point, slave mentality are always afraid of the negative situations around them. Their reactions and attitude are dependent on how things are going. Either things are going well or things are going bad. But for a kingdom mindset person, it doesn't matter what's going on in the outside. It matters what's going on inside of him. He's in peace. He maintains the peace of God. And he uses the reality of the peace of God in him to subdue and to overwhelm the reality around him. He is not allowing the panic outside to determine if it's going to be panic or not. He is rather seeing the panic outside and bringing the peace from inside to quench it. But people with slave mentality, everything is always, for them it's important that everything will be good and everything will be peaceful outside, that there will be no troubles. And when troubles begin outside them, in the environment around them, they are in trouble. They begin to panic. Because whatever reality to them is what they see. But in the real sense, listen closely to this now. Reality to every one of us is not what is happening or what we see. Reality is who we are. We don't see things as they are, but as we are. Reality is not what is happening to a kingdom person, but to a slave mentality person, reality is what is happening. And as long as you are counting and you are, to you, the things that are happening is the reality you live in, and is the definition of reality to you, you are not a kingdom person. You are still under the slave mentality. That, for example, if Nigeria is having economic crisis, corruption and everything, if you say because of that, that now determines why you did this, if those are the things that are determining your actions, your reactions, your behavior, because the economy is like this, because this is where the country is, you are actually not a kingdom citizen. You are not behaving like kingdom lifestyle. You are under the slave mentality. Slave mentality, people see reality as the reality, as what is happening as the reality. But in the real sense, the reality is supposed to be what you understand to be the truth inside of you. The truth is supposed to be the reality, not what is going on. So, for example, if I am right now in court, and I've been in court in the last 8 years, that is what is happening. That is the physical reality of what is happening. I've been in court today, for example. That is what is happening. And it's not just for 1 day or 1 week. But you know my reality where I'm living in, anybody who knows me, that my reality is that I am going to Africa. I am changing Africa. I'm bringing revival to Africa. I'm bringing transformation to Nigeria. And that is the reality that is inside of me. But in reality, I am here in Ukraine going through lawsuits. But my own reality is that I am writing books for my reality. I am building plans for my reality. I am making arrangements for my real reality. The reality is that right now, look at my pocket. I never have money. I'm always like this. Anybody who knows me will tell you, I'm always having an empty pocket. That's the reality right now. But the reality that I know better, the truth that is inside of me. So it is, for a kingdom citizen, the reality is what is sure of inside. It's not what is happening. He's using his inner reality to quench and to subdue the outside reality. So it is his own inner reality that is making him to walk. He's walking towards his own inner reality, and he's using his own inner reality to walk against the outward reality and to change the outward reality until the outward reality rhymes, or what was the other word? Rhymes with the inner reality that he is saying. It has to align. It has to align. The whatever reality outside out to align with the reality inside. But slave mentality will make you to always be weakened by the outside reality. Slave mentality will make you to be perplexed, to be overwhelmed by the outside reality. Slave reality will always be waving before your eyes the outside reality and be telling you out there that is the only reality that is real. But for you, you know that the only reality that is real is what is inside. And even if you see the reality outside, it's not that you are denying it. You are saying, yes, I see the wall. Yeah, I see the wall. Yes, I'm still under restriction in Ukraine here. But my own reality is that I'm going to overcome it. I'm going to come out of it. I'm going to do what I need to do. So that is the kingdom mindset against slave mentality. Now, before I move on, I want to ask you, is slave mentality a reality in the body of Christ today? Or you don't think so? Do you think it is real? And it needs to be challenged? Okay, what do you tell me something about it? If you don't jump up one by one, I'm going to make all of you stand.
Sir, I believe that when you go to Nigeria, there's going to be commotion because of the things that you teach. I remember when I was still in Nigeria, it was Dr. Miles Monroe's messages that actually broke the mentality for me in Nigeria. It was completely different from what I've heard every other person preach. For instance, I have no choice of my own. I couldn't take a decision without my pastor.
What?
Yes, sir.
No, say that again.
I couldn't take a decision of my own without my pastor's approval.
But no.
Sir, it's so bad.
No, don't tell me that one. Even that one exists. I didn't even know that one exists.
Can I get a confirmation? It's
but that is
so bad.
No, but you know that's a cult. Everybody knows that's a
it's
cult.
Cultish. It's worse than cultish.
That is like a cult.
It's brainwashing.
No, that is a cult. If you need to go and agree every decision.
Yes, sir. And your pastor is more superior than, for instance, between a
so, for
husband
example,
and wife.
if you want to travel now, because I heard it before, but I see that as a cultic practice. So if you want to travel now, you have to go and tell your pastor.
If he doesn't allow you, you cannot travel.
What about if it is about your job?
You can't. You have to get a permission.
So if he doesn't agree with you, you cannot go.
Then
So it is like the story that I heard one time, which is a real story. Why are you dropping it? You are answering my questions. The real story is a doctor, medical doctor, performing surgery, and his pastor called him to come right now and report to the office right now.
Yes, sir.
Not even the pastor, the secretary. That pastor, he said, you report to the office right now. And the man said, somebody go die for my head. He's doing surgeon. If I do it, the person will die. And he said, Pastor, I'm going to tell Pastor that, please, it's still 40 minutes left for the surgery to end. I will hand it over to another person after I'm finished the process. But I will come later, 1 hour later, before I have to drive as well. Here now. 70% of church. Ooh. Are you serious? I'm coming. I will finish what I'm saying. So he said, if you don't report now, it's going to be sanctioned or penalized. So the man said, no, I will go and beg. I will stay behind, finish the surgery, and explain to pastor who will understand. By the time he got there 1 hour later, the pastor will not see him. He will not see him. He can never enter this office again.
Yes. It's that bad.
Huh?
It's that bad, sir.
My God. So you are confirming that those things happen.
Yes, I sat on that. I may not want to call names now, but I sat in those ministries where I don't have a mind of my own. It was until after Dr. Miles Monroe came and preached, he said, it was him and Dr. Miles Modoc. Miles Modoc said, it's God that gives the, Mike Modoc.
Mike.
God gives the geese the desire to fly north because there's a place called north, and north does exist. So if you get that birds fly by instinct, how come a human being cannot take a decision when you have an instinct from God to do a direction from God to do something, and your pastor will cancel it? That if God is telling you something that you should go north, you should go north because the north does exist. That was the word that set me free. And I'm quoting it because I held on to it. And Dr. Miles Monroe came and he just created pandemonium. And people were leaving churches because it is so bad that if you are in a relationship with a sister and your pastor said you can't marry that sister, you can't marry that sister, he will dissolve the relationship, and that's the end. And then they will take the sister and give to the brother they prefer. And they will matchmake. And brothers cannot decide who they want to marry. They give their mindset to the pastor. The pastor is the one who knows better who is best fitted for the brother.
So what would that pastor then, what would that brother do to the pastor? He just gives him a dirty slap?
Nothing. You can't do anything. Otherwise, they would come up with this thing about cursing you and all that. It's
so it will still remain in that church?
Yes, sir. It's bad. Pastor, if you go to Nigeria, there's going to be serious commotion. Pretty bad. So that's why we don't have a revolution. We can't have the Christians rise because they are raising slaves that they can keep captive people can't take a decision on their own. People cannot hear God on their own and launch out.
No, you are not serious.
Nobody can do that.
So if I feel that God is telling me to go and do something now, I have to tell pastor to
you
go
are
and
a rebel. Yes. You have to confirm from him whether you should go or not.
What is his own business there?
Because he's God and he decides.
No, but I'm son of God too.
They don't teach you that. It's really bad, sir. You see what I'm saying, sir. I was there.
So you went through it yourself?
I lived it. So when I came to the United States and I saw...
You want to confirm? Come. But let Rody say it first because he was trying to say something. Rody was the first one who raised his hand. You wrote me something.
It's written.
It's real.
No, 70% of the churches that are active in the world have some form of Nicolaitanian control. The one doctrine that
you are blocking is
both the book of Revelation, in the book of Revelation, Jesus only says he hates one doctrine and one practice, and that is the doctrine and practice of the Nicolaitans, which means in Greek the conquering of the laity.
Control.
And 70% of the active churches, I'm not talking about dead churches where people just show up, but active churches in the world have some form of control statistically. And then, as badly as Jefferson just described, is 10%. Roughly 10% of all African churches, a little more than 20% of Indian churches, and more than 30% of the churches in China.
That are normal, right?
No, that are
or
where it's extreme control to the point of not just sectarian but cultic. And the China part is because it's such a lack of teaching.
And they take all these things church? Yes, sir. I even heard somebody said, you have to confirm if it's true. Give the microphone to marijuana. Somebody even said that there is a particular church in Nigeria, and people are still calling it a church, whereby this pastor said you cannot read any book apart from the book that the pastor himself has written, or that people from that church have allowed. So if you are a human being, you are not allowed to read any book. So you cannot just go to any shop and buy any book you want. Even if the pastor even if the book is a book of another pastor, that you cannot read it. That if you try to read a book that is not being, that's not from your pastor, that they will declare you as rebellious. So you say this happens.
Yes, sir. It's so true, and it's so systematic as well. Because I remember in church, the pastor would tell us a story, and this story he tells it systematically when somebody does something without telling him. So he would say, there is a sister, it happened to his friend in his friend's church. There's a sister that he was going to go out with she was going to go out with her friends, and she told her friend that I need to tell my pastor. And all her friends said, no, why do you need to tell your pastor? There's no need. You can make up your mind. You're a grown woman. And she insisted on telling her pastor. And she told her pastor. And the pastor said, oh, sister, whatever. Please, can you just trust me? Don't go. Can you stay? Don't go. And the girl was like, no, I need to go. And the pastor said, please, just to this one occasion, don't go. And she didn't go. And the rest of the girls that went, all her friends, they all died. And it was like, oh, that's a systematic way of telling you that if you don't listen to what your pastor says, you're going to die. Something is going to happen. And he says this all the time. I didn't really realize until, and also they will come and, victimize themselves that people do things in the church. They don't tell them, would you have a father in the house? And you don't tell your father when you want to do something, If you call me your true father, how can you not tell me? And they start saying, anyway, I'm done.
Okay. But that's manipulation. Yes. So, but people or themselves, you don't even need to be told that is manipulation. You just need to have a head. What did you notice? Have you seen things like this before?
So, actually, I'm very frequent with Nigeria. I go to Nigeria very well, and I grew up in the Christian setting where we go to church I was even born in the Christian setting, precisely a Four-Square church. And when you go to a Four-Square church in Nigeria, you know what it means when you're born in a Four-Square church. And growing up, when you raise the issue of people like coming under the pastor and everything the pastor says, that's always true. And pastor needs to give confirmation to anything you do. You know, when I came here, my mom is always calling me, telling me like, before I do anything, have you asked the pastor? Have you done this? Have you done? And I made her understood that most of the decisions I took with the pastor were not what really brought me to where I am.
No, but I'll tell you that I was also born again in Nigeria, but only for 6 months. But the church where I was born, no, I never even had that in the 80s.
So
I never even had that. If anybody did that in the 80s, 30 years ago, they called them cult. So what has happened?
No, actually, that's what everyone believes. Everyone believes the pastor needs to give a validation to anything you do. And to be sincere, I have my cousins that things like that happen to, and they asked the pastor, and the long run, like I could give an example, sorry. One was said he has to go to Canada. And the pastor said Canada is the only way out. And he went for the Canadian visa 3 times, he was not given the visa.
Even though the pastor said it.
And the pastor said it. And, they came, they said there's an agent, the agent is going to pay some amount of money. He paid all the money for the agent went with the money. There's no visa.
Because he's foolish. Instead of him to do his research, and take the right decision, he has to follow what the pastor said, Canada. Hey.
Thank you.
God Almighty.
Shepherding movement.
Yeah, they had that, yes.
Well, it's happening. I mean, it has happened to me as a growing Christian. I didn't grow up in a Christian home, but when I became a Christian, there are three things that happened in my life. Number one was I remember I had that very great burden when I...
Please, everybody that is watching this thing, go and share the message. Please go and share this message. Let's share the message. If you are watching it right now, go and press the share button and invite all your friends. Share with all your friends and invite them, please.
That was in 1993. I had that very great burden to go to South Africa. So the way we are taught is we have to go and tell the pastor. So I went to my bishop, and I was working in the bishop's court. So I went to my bishop to tell my bishop that it's like God is laying the burden of South Africa to me to go. I knelt down in his front, and the first question that the bishop asked me was, he took me aback. He asked me, am I a part of this ministry? I said, excuse me, in my mind, I've been serving here for a long time, and you're asking me that question.
Maybe he couldn't recognize you.
I iron his clothes. I do watchman around his compound. And we are in the Bible school. I was the...
So he knows you.
I was the prefect of the Bible school then.
Oh, so he should know you now.
So, and then in the young men's fellowship, in his crusade team.
But do you not think he has met you before?
I've written a lot of stuff that God will lay in my heart concerning the ministry to him, so he knows me a lot.
Oh, okay. So it's not that he didn't know you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, after that, I was in the Bible school. Then somebody came to me and warned me and said, no. The person came and warned me and said, you come here.
So I just wonder, what would be the excuse of a pastor not to bless? No excuse. He doesn't have to explain himself.
I think what happened in that kind of situation is that
he's your countryman, South Africa.
He knows him, he served him, he lived with him, he saw him every day. But when he asked him that question, are you part of this church? He was questioning his loyalty to him. that you coming here to tell me you want to go and serve in another country, in another man's church, where is your loyalty to me?
I see.
Actually, the bishop sent one of his aides to me to ask me that question. Do you want to work in this church? I said, why are you asking me that question now? He said, because the bishop said I'm an embarrassment to him. You know, so, I mean, that was the first thing. And the second thing that happened, which was very, very bad, was, well, it was good. When I was to marry my wife, you know.
But so these are not cults. You are talking about regular churches.
Yeah. These are very Pentecostal churches.
And people accept those churches? People go to them?
They go every day.
Okay, all churches. You could basically say all the churches are like this.
Yeah. They are like that.
Okay.
That's it.
Almost no alternative, right?
So they tried to stop that wedding.
Why? There must be a reason, though.
I don't know. I have not been able to
They didn't tell you
process the reason up to today. To the extent that on the day of our wedding, when we've gone through all the processes of the church, it was cancelled on the day of our wedding. We had to go out to go and marry in a court. I mean, that's in Nigeria. I mean, very powerful Pentecostal ministries.
So this is a fact. There is nothing I can say. So then, what I was talking was even a small thing. I thought I was opening the revelation to you by saying credibility, people saying. I didn't know that the pastors are the ones themselves putting the people in servitude.
Because the pastors themselves are slaves.
Why? How?
Yeah, because their mentality is if there no king subjects a king.
Yeah, but what makes them? What is their own slavery? How did they get? What is the? How is their own? How did they get? What makes them like that?
For somebody who is a king and understands their kingship and their position in the kingdom,
right?
They are not threatened by another king. You're never afraid by another king because you're connected to the source.
Yes.
So when another king it's your desire to raise more kings so that your job will be less.
Yes, that is the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
But what is why these people, they are the owners of their ministries, they are big. So what is it? Why?
Pastor, just because they have a big ministry and they collect a big offering does not mean they are kings.
But there are kings over their own pulpits, over their own ministries. But why can't they recognize or release other kings?
They can't because they are threatened.
They are not true kings.
They are not true kings.
That's the major problem. You have something to say?
I want to quote Pastor Sunday Adelaja, Abuja, 2004. 600 leaders from all over Nigeria. You are all kings of your own kingdoms, and therefore the people are slaves.
So these people, they are building their own empires and making the people to be slaves in their own little kingdoms, in their own little empires. Okay, now, do you people agree that until this slavery mentality is broken, that the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ will not move forward? Do you agree with that? Now, do you also agree that all these children of God that we are saying are not great, for them to really be great, this slave mentality, both the ones I spoke about, because I didn't see this aspect. I didn't even know this is a big one. This one you are talking about. Now I'm seeing that it's a bigger one than the one I spoke about. So the slavery that the people who are supposed to enthrone you as kings are putting you into are the ones that are even bigger than the slavery inside yourself. So both kind of slavery have to be broken for people to become who they are called to become. All right. I believe, unless anybody else wants to make a statement about that, I believe that we dealt with that topic. What is the next one? What is the next?
The next one is a lot of Christians Christians merely just want to live a peaceful life.
Okay. Christians just want to live a peaceful life. What I'm going to do right now is that before we go into that next point, I am going to stop the video. I'm going to have us to have a break for 5 minutes, especially for the TV people. I want you to know this. We are taking 5 minutes break, and this time we will go and get fresh air here because we've been sitting for some time. Then we'll come back to deal with this second aspect of things. No. Ne, nowy zapusky. Okay. Let's take break for 5 minutes and we'll go for fresh air.